Okay, so I know it has been boring for most of you till this part because we've been talking about all the basic stuff. But it was completely necessary. Now it's actually time to talk about the juicy stuff. And we're gonna start with the first strategy of this specific training. Now, in this training, I'm going to teach you 3 different strategies. You don't need any other strategy to make money with binary options. No other strategy whatsoever. What you're gonna learn today, or within these 3 videos, these 3 strategies can be the difference between being broke and becoming rich. So pay attention to them, and more importantly, follow instructions as they are, okay? Now let's dive right into the actual video. The first strategy that I want to teach you is called the Kellner strategy. Well, that's the name that I just gave it, right? And it is a 1-minute strategy. Now, there are 2 versions of this specific strategy, but this is the improved version, and this is the one that I prefer to teach you, okay? Just so that you have I'm not gonna teach you the previous one because I don't want you to get confused if this is the first time you're watching any of these strategies. So super important that you actually get to this specific point, and forget everything that you've learned in the past, okay? So the first thing that you're gonna do is actually add the indicator called Kellner channel. Kellner channel, it's right here. And this is on Pocket Option, but it's also the same on Codex. So whatever broker you use, the Kellner channel. Unfortunately, Kellner channel is not available over there in TradingView, but we're gonna use the brokers in this case to actually teach you. So once you actually click on it, something like this is going to pop up, okay? Now we're gonna do a few changes on this specific indicator. And what we're going to do is actually go into the square, like I have it right here in front of you, okay? Try to freeze the page or something in order for you to actually get it right. And the first strategy is this one right here, the first change. The EMA period has to be in the period of 25. It's usually on 20, but you gotta change it to 25, okay? The ATR period, change it to 30. It's usually in 10. Change it to 30, okay? And the multiplier, change it for 2. It's usually a number 1, and change it for 2. The styles don't really matter. So once you actually do this, you click on the save button, and that's pretty much it. Once you actually do that, you need to add one more indicator called RSI. So click on the indicator tab and click on RSI, or relative strength index, whatever you see it in your broker. RSI, there you go. What is it that you're gonna do? Let me just go ahead and get my pencil for this specific strategy. Both of the indicators have boundaries, okay? What I mean by boundaries, it's basically these areas right here. You see this area and this area, these are basically boundaries. And you can see that the pairs actually, or the price of the assets, keep on moving on this specific area. So we have an idea of what is going on. And if you notice on the RSI, we have 2 levels. This one right here that says 70, and this one right here that says 30. These are also boundaries, these horizontal lines. And this is a price indication of the price of the market. So you can see that it's inside of the boundaries as well, right? What is it that we look for in this specific strategy? We'll look for the price to go outside of the boundary. Outside of the boundary, okay? Once it does, the market will start retracting. Why? Because the price needs to be inside of those specific boundaries. So what is it that you do? Whenever the price goes outside of the boundaries, you enter a position in the opposite direction. Let me show you right now. This right here went over the boundary, and the candlestick ended up outside of the Kellner channel. So you enter a position for 1 minute on this candlestick right here. As simple as that. Let me repeat that. When the price closes outside of the boundaries right here, you enter on the next candle for 1 minute trade. Does that make sense? Now, why is it that we use the Kellner? The RSI, we only use it to see that the price is getting close to the boundaries. Whenever the prices are close or touch those boundaries, it is a second confirmation that the price will start retracting. So super important that you keep that in mind. This is the easiest strategy. Well, probably not the easiest, but it's a very easy strategy that is out there, okay? Now, there are going to be moments when the price is actually going to break, just like it did right now. So for instance, I'm going to enter right now in call position for 1 minute, okay? I entered too low, I'm sorry, too high. So what you notice that this, by the way, when you actually go into the candlesticks, you enable the timer right here, okay? Super important. Why? Because this timer is this one right here. Do you see that it says M1 and it's got a few seconds on it? It basically is telling you how long the candlestick is actually going to be living, all right? How long does it have left to live? Does that make sense? So you gotta enter at the beginning of the 1 minute candle. Why? So that you can actually, the trade will be active for as long as the candlestick is active, okay? But getting back to the previous point, it's not always going to respect the strategy, right? This one right here closed, so the following should be an up candle, like a green candle. It didn't happen that way, but it can happen during the market, right? The strategy is around 70 to 85% accuracy. Okay, now this last one ended up as a tie. I didn't win and I didn't lose it, right? So it returned my $100. But you can see that the price continues to drop, okay? And it's outside of the RSI. Whenever this happens, stay away from that pair. Okay, it's not worth it to be, chasing those trades. So what we do is that we actually look for a different pair. This one right here, it hasn't really happened that strong. I already missed the entry point because the entry point would have been around right here. And you can see that the M1, the seconds, is at 20 seconds. So that basically means that I'm already too late. You gotta enter at the beginning of the candlestick. So if we would have entered at the beginning of the candlestick, I would have won the trade. So let me see if I find another opportunity. Okay, this one could be a good entry point. Okay, in 5 seconds. So I'm gonna enter for 1 minute. At the beginning of the candlestick, you see, boom, I enter exactly at the beginning of the candlestick. I was even lucky that the price actually dropped a little bit more. And we're going to see if we actually end up winning this trade. Right now, you can see that the market is kind of crazy. I'm not sure if there are news, honestly, at the moment that I'm recording this video. And I'm not risking that much money, right? I'm just risking $100 out of a $3,500 account just to show you those live trades. But you got to understand that the most important part of this specific strategy is the entry point. If you enter at the beginning, at the middle of the candle, right here, for instance, 20 seconds left, you're risking too much because the next candle could start jumping again and you could lose that trade. So basically, when you see that the candlestick closes outside of the candle channel, it identifies that the next candle should be in the opposite candle. Can be big, can be super small, it doesn't matter. But it should be the opposite candle. So if this was a green candle, the opposite should be a red candle. And just right here, it was a red candle. Does that make sense? Now, the opposite could also happen on a down position. For instance, this one right here. It closed outside as a red candle, so the next one should be a green candle. Same happened here, even though this one didn't, well, go ahead and take a look at this one. It closed slightly outside, but the next one was a green candle. So if you enter at the beginning of the candle, then you won the trade. Even by very little, but you won the trade. Does that make sense? Now, this continues to happen, and that's why the strategy is not 100% accurate. It's like around 70, like I said, 70 to 85%. If you actually are able to master it, then you're gonna be having way better results. What do I mean by mastering it? Try to take a look at those like super respected trends. For instance, this one right here, closes a green one, and then boom, the next one is red. Closes a green one, and then the next one is red. Closes a green one, and then boom, the next one is red. Take a look at 3 positions, 3-1 in a row. You don't even need to trade anymore after you actually do this. Does that make sense? So yeah, super easy and profitable strategy. Hopefully you learned it like super fast. If not, try to rewatch the video, and more importantly, start practicing on demo. So I'll see you on the next strategy.